How's everyone doing today? I'm glad you're back with me. We're going to be beginning a chapter book. And in our earlier two books, we saw that two young men were looking for jobs and they went on different paths, right? One had just a desire to work at a courthouse, and the other was needing a job because his parents had given him a car and now he had bills. Bills meant that there was something he had to pay in order to be able to drive the car. He had to pay for his insurance and he had to pay for his gas. So he worked hard to find a car or find a job that helped him be able to drive his car. Well, in today's lesson, we are going to look at how do we plan for the future and how do we set those goals and what are some things we do about that. And so throughout this book, that will be our theme, looking for a job, setting goals, and reaching goals. All right. So what we always do, we always look at what we're going to do for the day. Then we look at our communication device. We review our story and do our picture walk, look at our KWL chart, and then look at our assessments, correct? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to make this a bit smaller here. And if you need your communication device, what am I going to say? Yes, go get your communication device. That's correct. Or any other pieces of material that you may need to help you be an active member of our class today. Your family member can help you load our vocabulary or help you locate and record information on your button to communicate along with us. Right, so this is going to be our book that we are going to go in for the next couple of days, next couple of weeks actually, setting a goal and building a future. We are going to look at chapter 1, which is planning for the future. We will review our communication board. We will take a look at our two quizzes that we're going to take. One is going to be talking about what was the story about, and then the next is going to be just some more detailed questions. We will definitely be looking at our KWL chart. What can you tell me a KWL chart is? Our third one. What's our KWL chart? The K is what we know. The W is what we want to know, and the L is what we learned. Very good. So we'll go through that today as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Everybody back? Excellent. So title of our book is Setting a Goal, Building a Future. It's written by Molly Tuttle. Okay. Now let's go to our table of contents. Remember that our table of contents is what? We always have a table of contents in a chapter book. Yes, table of contents is going to tell us where each of those chapters are at and on what page. It's going to tell us the title of that chapter, and it's going to tell us what page we can locate it on. So we're going to be looking at chapter 1 today. So chapter 1 is going to be on what page? Pretty quick, easy, right? Page 1. And the title of it is Planning for the Future. We're going to go over our communication board now, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, who remembers in our earlier lessons this week what we talked about? The pink words, the words in pink, the words in blue, and the words in gold. What do those mean? Pink is what? Is it verb, adjective, or noun? Verb is action, adjective describes, noun is person, place, or thing. Right, pink is verb. That means blue is either adjective or noun. Adjective, and gold is very good, noun. All right, so let's look at our verbs today. Do, plan. That means we're going to have like step 1, step 2, step 3. We're going to have a plan. Help, talk, live, earn. Remember in our earlier stories, we talked about earning, meaning that you work for something and earn it. And you earn or you get your payment for that. You work hard, get good grades, that's what you've earned. If you take a job, you work hard, you go to work every day, you earn money. What you need, something you have to have, not what you want. So you have to have food, water, or a place to live, right? You need to have those things, but you don't need a TV. You don't need a really fancy car. It's what do you need versus what do you want. Try means you do your best, find, and like. Now, our adjectives that are describing for this story are different. So we have a square and a circle. They are not the same, they are different. And good, thumbs upper. Okay. Now, our nouns in the story are person, places, or things. Keisha is our character, job, future, meeting, mother, teacher, sister, college, apartment, brother, money, goal, idea, and team. So those are all of our important vocabularies today. So you can ask a family member to help program your device or locate pictures among your selection that you communicate with. All right, now let's take a picture walk. Chapter 1, Planning for the Future. So we see we have a young lady and two women with her, and behind it, it says plans, goal, and then what? What does it say? Plans, goal, earn money, apartment. Good. Young lady, she has a graduation hat and a thought bubble and question marks like, is she going to graduate? Or maybe it's what she's going to do after graduation. We have a calendar book, and there it's marked Keisha's planning meeting. Wonder what they're going to plan. Have a young lady with maybe it's her mom and teacher, not sure. Young lady with a gentleman with a hard hat and a tool belt, so maybe working in construction. Long-term goals. Let's see what our long-term goals are. I want to get a job. Number 2, I want to live in an apartment. Number 3, I want to earn money. And then she drew a picture of each of them. This is her apartment, her earning money, and her getting a job. Very good. And then her plan, job, money, apartment. I wonder what that means. What that little diagram means. And then job exploration. So exploration is just a fancy word for meaning you're going to look for a job. You're going to figure out, like the diagram says, what jobs do you like? What jobs do you dislike? That means you don't like them. You don't want to do them. So think back to Jordan's story. What was the one job he didn't want to do? He just didn't like it. Was it the dog walking, washing the dishes, or being a chef? What did he not like? Yes, it was the washing dishes. So he didn't even consider that job. So sometimes you like a job, sometimes you don't, and you have to pick the right one. And then plans, goals, earn money, apartment. And that will be the conclusion of our chapter. So let's look at our KWL chart. So setting a goal, building a future is the name of our book. What do we know? We know that there's a girl holding a piggy bank, right? We know that a piggy bank holds money. We know that we save money in a piggy bank for something special. We know that the future will happen later and not now. What else do we know from our previous story? We know that the word earn, it means something we work for, right? And what else do we know? We know that it's okay not to like a job. It is okay to not like a to not like all jobs. Okay? All right. Very good. So it was in the very front of our story that we saw the young lady holding the piggy bank and wondering, why does she have the piggy bank? And what does that mean for her? And how does that is important to our story? So now before we go to our reading, let's look at our questions. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh my, that's very, very large. We don't want it quite that large. All right. What is the title of our chapter? Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll be able to answer some of these questions because this helps us from when we went through our picture walk. So what is the name of our chapter? Planning for the Future is the name of our chapter. And if you were able to print off your lesson material, you can write it in right with me. And I'll have this up for a little bit so you can copy right along. What do you think this chapter is about? What do you think this chapter is about? What do we project that it's about? Planning for the future. Maybe earning money based on our picture walk. What else? What else was maybe in our picture walk that we saw? Someone with graduation hats, the planning. We had long-term goals, word apartments. So what do we want to put here? What will help us? Earning money, making a plan, good. And what else could it be about? Yes, setting a goal and getting a job. All right, let's see. All right, this chapter book. This is a chapter book. What kind of chapter book is it? So what do we think this chapter book is? Do you think it's fiction or nonfiction? Do you think it's about a real person or do you think it's about not a real story or it is a real story? We might have to come back to answer that, right? What is this chapter topic? Is it about biography, social studies, or science? Can we answer that yet? Not really. I mean, I think we might know. Compare this book to a chapter book that has already been recently read. So we can't compare it quite yet because we haven't read this chapter, but we did do a chapter book a week or so ago. If you remember, and that book was all about sound and sound waves and light waves. And we can compare that when we're done. And what kind of book would you choose? A picture book, a chapter book, a comic book, or a book with facts? So what would you choose? And you circle which one you like or share with a family member. If you were going to choose a book, would it be a picture book or would it be a chapter book, a comic book? So that's the one with just the sketches in it with different characters that are on different adventures, or would it be a book with facts? I like chapter books. but you choose which one you like. Now, we'll come back and finish the rest of our page after we've done read our chapter. So let's look what our questions are here, because we want to make sure the important information that we're looking for, right? Jiminy Crickets, that got really, really big. Let's see if I can enlarge it without it blowing up the page, huh? There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So what is the chapter book about? We're going to want to pay attention to that. What does Keisha make to live in an apartment? What does Keisha make to live in an apartment? What does Keisha need to live in an apartment? What does Keisha have for her plan? What is important to know about this chapter? All right, so those are important pieces. And I'm going to go back to this page for just a minute in case you need to write those down. We can just pause it and then you can copy all that you need, okay? All right, so you can pause it and catch back up with us as we start to look at our story, okay? All right, so let's go to the front of our story. Okay, are we ready? Planning for the Future, Chapter 1. Oh, I think I've got the wrong one. Let's see. There we go. Keisha will graduate soon. What will she do? Will she get a job? Keisha will plan her future. Keisha has a planning meeting. This will help Keisha plan her future. Keisha's mother is at the meeting. Keisha's teacher is at the meeting. They talk about what Keisha can do. Keisha's sister graduated. Alicia goes to college. She lives in an apartment. Keisha's brother graduated. Tom has a job and earns money. Her sister's name is Aaliyah. Here's where we have the picture of the long-term goals. I want to get a job. I want to live in an apartment. I want to earn money. Keisha's teacher asked her about her goals. A goal is something that you are trying to reach. Keisha's goal is to live in an apartment. And she's got that written on her list. Plan, job, money. Here's the plan. Get a job, earn money, get an apartment. Keisha needs a plan to reach her goal. Keisha needs money to live in an apartment. She needs to get a job. Job exploration. So we talked about this. There's going to be some jobs you like and some jobs you don't like. Keisha does not know what job to do. Keisha can try different jobs. She will find jobs she likes, and she will find jobs she doesn't like. Keisha has a good idea for her plan. Now Keisha will find a good job. Keisha's team will help her plan her future. All right, so let's go to our church and let's see. Talked about what we do know. We wanted to know, is the girl saving money? Why is there a picture of a graduation hat? We wanted to know, does she have a planning? Why does she have a planning meeting on her calendar? What does long-term goal mean? And what do the diagrams on page 7 and 8 mean? Well, we learned that Keisha is saving money for an apartment in the future. We know that she's planning for this after graduation. We know that Keisha, her mom, and teacher are meeting to make a plan. We also learned that a long-term goal is something that you want to reach in the future. The diagrams on page 7 was showing if she gets a job, she can earn money and pay for an apartment. We also know on diagram on page 8, it is showing that when she looks for a job, when she looks for jobs, she's going to find and she's going to separate them out. She's going to have some jobs over here that she likes and some jobs that she doesn't like. But what she does know, like the diagram on page 7, is that she's got to have a job in order to pay for her apartments, right? So that's why she made her long-term plan so that she could reach her goal for her future. All right. Can we answer the rest of our question here? Is this a chapter? This is a chapter book? What kind of chapter book is it? So do we know, is this a fictional, not a true story, but it's about true things? Or is it a nonfiction where there were facts? There were the date someone was born. It gave information about family. It gave events. There was a timeline. Was there any of that? No, you're right. So it was fiction. It's a fiction story. And then what is the chapter topic? So remember, a biography is when it's about a person writing about themselves, right? Well, autobiographies, you're writing about yourself, but a biography, we're writing about someone's life. Was it social studies, where you're planning things in society, where you're planning to do things? Or was it all about science, like our earlier chapter book, which was sound and light? So we can kind of rule some things out. It wasn't about science, right? And was it talking about someone's life, what they did every day, what their birth date was, and was there a timeline? No. So then our final choice is social studies. And then compare this book to a chapter book that has been read recently. So how is this the same about our chapter book? How is this the same? Well, both of them have diagrams, right? In our earlier book, there was diagram about light waves and sound waves. Here we had a diagram about setting a plan. Both had characters, right? Both had characters that were students. And then what is one thing that was different? Were they both about science? Only one book. I don't know if they'll let me get this all in there. But we'll need a shorter answer. Both had, nope, that's charters. We want characters. Oh, our red line. No, that's not it. Let's see. You know what? We save room here. Both were about students. And let's see, what's one more thing that maybe they were the same? One more thing that maybe they were the same. Did they both have plans? I mean, the first one didn't really talk about a plan, though, did it? Only one book had. Let me go under. No. Hmm. All right, and one was about the future, right? That's not going to let me separate out either, like character. That was giving me a hard time. Future plans. There we go. Okay, the word has. No. All right, very good. Sometimes we just have to work with things, right? And you have to play with it, and that's okay. That's okay, because that is real life. All right, excellent. We've already answered our earlier questions. So let's look at our next set. What is this chapter about? Is it about a movie? Is it about planning, meeting? Is it about basketball games? Now, is there anything in our book about basketball games? No. So we can just forget that one. Was there anything in our book about movies? No. Was there something about planning meetings? There's planning, but remember what we saw in our picture? Right there, planning meeting, right? Yes. So planning meeting. What does Keisha make to live in the apartment? Does she make a goal? Does she make a cake? Does she make a picture? What does she make to live in the apartment? They come to the meeting. They talk about Keisha, what she wants. Keisha does not know what she wants. So let's see if our next page talks about goal. She wants to be a teacher. Lives in an apartment. Keisha's brother. So that one's not talking about a goal yet, right? So sometimes a goal is a long-term goal, which is where we want. And I think this is a different version of our book, so that might be part of what we're running into. There we go. She has a meeting and she talks about what she can do, right? Talks about her sister and her brother and the jobs they have. She asks about her goals. Goal is something she's trying to do, and her goal is to what? Her goal is to live in the apartment. That's right. So she makes a goal. What does Keisha need to live in an apartment? What does she need to live in the apartment? Does she need a couch? Does she need a blanket? Or does she need money? What does Keisha need to live in the apartment? Right here. What does she need? She needs a job to make money to live in the apartment. Good. So she needs money. What does Keisha have for her plan? What does she have for her plan? Does she have ideas? Does she have food? Or does she have books? So let's go back to that earlier picture of that she drew. Let's see if we can locate that. When they were first talking about her plan. Look at here. What does she have? Does she have ideas, food, or books? Would you consider those ideas? Long-term goal, and those are her, yeah, good. And then what is important to know about this chapter? What do we need to make sure we know? Keisha wants to go to college. Keisha watches TV. Keisha's team will help her plan her future. What's the most important part about this chapter? So we always go back to our book, right? We always look, and this is her team. And her team will help her plan for her future. Very good. Excellent. Very nice job. Remember, you can always pause the video so that you can check your answers along with me. Thank you for joining me today. I know that we have covered a lot, but I'm so glad that you're able to join us in our online classroom. Remember to stay safe and stay healthy. And as I always say, enjoy your family. Have a great evening. Bye bye.